The Nintendo 64 is an absolutely amazing console for many reasons. It houses some of the most beloved games of all time. Unfortunately, although N64s aren't too hard to find, the old school CRT TVs that provide a lag-free experience are now rather difficult to come by. And do you really want a chunky TV just for gaming on one console? That's where the EON Super 64 comes in, as it allows you to play the N64 on a modern TV lag-free, if you have the coin. For me, it's worth every penny. As most gamers of a certain age will remember, the Nintendo 64 shipped with the connectors that were standard at the time, red, white, and yellow AV cables. But today, they're a round peg in a square hole. I personally own 3 TVs, none of which have these ports available. So without AV ports on a newer TV, you've been stuck keeping an older TV around to play your N64. And unless that old TV is a bulky CRT, you're likely to encounter aspect ratio issues or notable input lag. This is the inconvenience that the EON Super 64 hopes to address, and I'm happy to report that it actually solves it quite well. The tiny adapter comes in small stylized packaging, and once removed, plugs directly into the AV port of your Nintendo 64. From there, you simply plug a standard HDMI cable into the Super 64, which converts the 480p signal for display on your HD or 4K television. There's no extra power cable or any other hassles. It really couldn't be easier. If you don't remember what some of those older titles look like, you might be in for a bit of a shock, especially on something like a 55-inch 4K display. If you can't get over the fuzziness though, the Super 64 includes a handy little button on the side that instantly smooths the images out. No menus, no restarting. While I wouldn't say the differences completely blew me away, it's certainly an improvement. Graphics are great, but there's something I favor a little bit more than that. See, I'm a Mario 64 speedrunner. I've easily spent over 1,000 hours with Mario alone, so I know what that specific game is supposed to feel like. And from the moment I was greeted with the game file select screen, I knew I was in good hands. The arrow pointer was smooth and responsive, and in game, Mario controlled like a dream. It took zero time to be able to pull off precise tricks or handle any of Mario's more complex moves. While top Mario 64 speedrunners may opt to stick with a purist CRT setup, I can safely say for someone at my skill level, or anyone looking to start speedrunning an N64 game, the Super 64 is definitely something you should look into. With all that said, there's one drawback I can't help but emphasize: the price. The EON Super 64 will set you back $150 US. Let's do some quick math on what it would take to get you going. At GameStop, you can get a refurbished N64 for around 80 bucks. Pair that with the $150 Super 64, nearly twice the amount of the console itself, and you're looking at $230 before tax for the full setup with no game and only one controller. That's a little hard to swallow for a retro gaming setup, but it's worth taking certain things into account when justifying that purchase. Sure, CRTs are the ideal way to go, but they're big, bulky, ugly, and hard to find and maintain. The Super 64 saves a lot of space, looks nice, clean, and modern, and could end up even saving you money in the long run. The EON Super 64 pretty much does everything right. If you're looking for an aesthetically pleasing and incredibly simple way to enjoy the stellar N64 library in a manner that's close enough to lagless to satisfy a speedrunner, the Super 64 is definitely worth saving up for. The Slick mode provides an option for a cleaner image without completely changing your old games, which is a welcome addition. And while the price tag may have you second guessing your actual need for this retro gear, I am personally excited to give my dusty old N64 a place next to my PS4, Xbox One, and Switch, knowing that enjoying it is now just as easy as enjoying any console from this generation. For more on retro games, check out our reviews of the NES and SNES Classic. And of course, for everything else, make sure to keep it here on IGN.